Good Shabbos, everyone. Parshas Shoftim, the first Shabbos in the month of Elul. And like we spoke in previous years, the idea of Shoftim and Shotrim, which are police and judges and enforcers, that we have to place at our gates. It's brought down from the Kabbalistic Sfarim that the idea is to place judges and enforcers by our entry points, by our eyes, our ears, our mouth, our nose, how we communicate, how we take information in, and how we give, and what are we taking in, and what are we giving out. And on a more personal level, person also, we know that the kol sharecha, the word kol makes up the number 50, which is the idea of the 50 gates of understanding. That when a person is going in the month of Elul, and we know the month of Elul is a time of cheshbon hanefesh, we have to make self-evaluation. And the king is in the field to help us, guide us, and to encourage us, and to give us the strength to do the cheshbon hanefesh, the calculations, and to do atonement for their past year and to make the good resolutions for the coming year. So a person also has to know that in this point you have to make good judgment calls of what information and how you're allowing this information to affect you. B'chol sherech, and all the gates of your entry, of your sensitivity, of your mental health, of your strengths. There's certain things that we have to know that are information or pieces that we could pay attention to and that we could work on. There's certain things that we have to know when to put that to the side. And the judgment call and all 50 gates, we have to have a strong understanding of what's healthy information, what's a way of growth, and what's going to pull us down. And like the Rebbe says, one of the main tools of doing cheshbon or nefesh is simcha, joy. When we go into the month of Elul with joy, we have this power to have that strength and energy to be able to face the calculations and the avoda, the work of month of Elul, in a healthy, proper way. I also want to add what we learned this morning in the Sikha, that the Rebbe talks about the idea of the promise of the prophet Yeshaya, that he talks about, similar to the name of this week's parsha, where we talk about the judges, that it says Shiva Sheftayach Kivar Yishayna V'Yitzayach Kivatchila, that when Mashiach comes, the judges and the advisors are going to come back. And so the Rebbe talks about why we don't mention the enforcers, because we're going to live in a time of Mashiach. We're going to be able to listen to the judges without having the level of force to force ourselves. We're going to be on a higher level of elevation where when we understand something, we act on it. But also the Rebbe says an amazing idea, that the difference between a judge and an advisor, which is really the difference between the avoda of Elul and the avoda of Tishrei. We know the Rebbe talks about that the name of Elul is Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li. I'm to my beloved and my beloved's to me. And traditionally, the avoda of Elul is I'm to my beloved. It's our work. We're working to try to perfect ourselves, to elevate ourselves. And V'Dodi Li is the response after the work of Elul, that our beloved's to me. We go into Rosh Hashanah, we get a good judgment. But the Rebbe says the very fact that Elul has both parts, Ani L'Dodi V'Dodi Li, I'm to my beloved and my beloved's to me, that there's also an inspiration from above in Elul itself. And that's the idea of the king is in the field. And when the king is in the field, the king is accessible. He's on our level. That's like the level of a yoyetz, an advisor. When someone advises someone, the relationship between the advisor and the person who's being advised is a close relationship, a relationship of trust, a relationship of comfort. So you feel comfortable to listen and to internalize the information that you're getting from the advisor. So too the month of Elul, God is there. He undresses himself from his royalty. He makes himself accessible to us. So he encourages us to inspire us in a way that we can internalize, to perfect ourselves to our highest ability. And then from then comes the month of Tishrei, when it's Sheftayach, the day of judgment, which then judgment is a power that God empowers us even beyond our abilities. In Elul, we perfect to our abilities, we internalize it, we elevate ourselves to our full potential. Comes Rosh Hashanah, like we said last week, we leave the place of the field. We go into the palace. We're one of those who are accepted into the palace, and then we could get the blessing of the king in the way he sits in his full royalty, where he could give us an abundance of blessing that's even beyond our kalim, beyond our abilities. So we have both the uniqueness of self-elevation, self-perfection, and then we could overachieve even more than what our potential. And we see that today, that there's people that are out there, Baruch Hashem, conquering the world, making adir b'tachtonim in such a way that they're mamish overachieving. And Hashem should continue that we reach this idea with the coming of Mashiach, B'Shoftayich and Yitzayich. We should have the judges and the advisors. That's all relationship, referring to relationship we have with Hashem. That our relationship is both in the comfort of the king and both in the elevation from the king. And it should be b'toiv v'nir v'nigla, in a good way, in a way of simcha and strong mindset, like we said before, make right judgment calls on what information we let in, what we allow to affect us, and how we should be able to take positive information to elevate ourselves, to get ready for the coming of the new year, for Shana Tovim Masukah, and of course for the coming Mashiach Tzidkenu B'Mheir V'Yimeinu. Good Shabbos.